Welcome to the Complete AI Guide, your commute-friendly podcast brought to you by GeorgeEbbyMatthew.com.
We're so glad you could join us.
We are now available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts.
So it should be easy to find us.
Please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode.
It really helps us out.
So for today's episode, we are doing something pretty critical. We're looking ahead to 2026.
Just around the corner.
Exactly. And our research is pointing to it being a monumental pivot year for AI adoption globally.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to unpack this huge shift, the move from AI simply assisting us to AI taking over and performing autonomous execution.
Right, and we've pulled out 10 major trends from our research that really define this new landscape.
Okay, so before we jump into those 10, maybe you can set the scene for us. What makes 2026 so special?
I think it's less about some magical thing happening on January 1st and more about recognizing momentum. 2026 is the year where the direction becomes just crystal clear.
So no more ambiguity.
Much less. The choices companies are making right now are compounding into their destiny. And the core idea, the real takeaway is this. Operating models are about to matter way more than language models.
More than the tech itself.
Absolutely. It's all about how you deploy it, how you change your processes, and how you execute.
Okay, let's unpack that core pivot. Because for the past few years, all anyone's talked about is the AI co-pilot.
That friendly assistant, right.
Yeah, the little helper that drafts your email, debugs your code, or summarizes a long document. But the consensus in our research is that that era is coming to an end.
The pattern is undeniable. We're seeing AI move beyond just suggesting things.
Yeah.
It's now actively acting, it's deciding.
It's executing.
It's executing and transforming entire processes end to end without a human in the loop for every step.
And that must completely redefine what value even means in this context.
It does. It fundamentally redefines value. We're shifting away from simple capability like, look what my model can do, or check out this cool prompt, to execution.
Yeah. So the question is no longer, can it do it, but how does it change my business?
Precisely. The value is now measured by how the tech fundamentally changes the business model. And this forces companies out of what one analysis called experimentation theater.
I like that phrase.
Me too. No more just, playing around with minor efficiency gains. It forces you into having an explicit strategic direction with really big, tangible results.
So we're moving from a simple productivity tool to an actual engine of business transformation.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Right.
And, while this creates incredible new value and capability, it also opens up whole new classes of risks.
And new threats.
And new threats that are, frankly, exponentially harder to manage than anything we've seen before.
That brings me to the tech itself. I mean, if AI is executing on its own, does the model you're using still matter as much?
It's a great question. And a recurring theme in our research is that the tools are starting to fade into the background.
Into the infrastructure layer.
Exactly. The models will just be assumed. They won't be celebrated anymore.
Yeah. Sort of like electricity or the cloud. You don't celebrate that you have it, you just build on top of it.
Perfect analogy. The differentiation at that pure tech layer is blurring. And it's blurring fast.
Yeah.
This means the real competitive advantage is going to come from what we're calling domain variants.
Okay, explain that. What makes a domain variant different from just a big general model?
So a domain variant isn't just, a generic LLM that you've fed some industry reports. It's an AI that's been deeply trained on specific proprietary workflow knowledge.
So not just data, but process.
Process, historical outcomes, and this is the crucial part, the really strict regulatory constraints of a single field.
Like aerospace or pharma?
Or legal discovery, exactly.
Oh.
This deep specialization makes it fundamentally safer, more reliable, and just exponentially more effective at autonomous execution than any generalist model could ever be.
So that deep specific knowledge becomes the new moat.
That's the differentiator, yeah.
It's a fascinating idea. So if the foundational tech is becoming a utility and the specialization is key, where's the real bottleneck now? What's the main constraint in this whole cycle?
It's definitely not the technology anymore. And it's usually not even about compute power. The real constraint, it's adoption.
It's a human element.
It's the human element.
Yeah.
The speed of the tech is not the bottleneck. Our established ways of working are. We're in an era where human change is going to outweigh technical change.
In terms of difficulty and cost?
Difficulty, cost, and ultimately impact. Getting an entire organization to actually change its behavior is the hardest part of this puzzle.
Okay, so if the challenge is behavioral, who wins in this new environment? We usually celebrate the innovators, the disruptors.
But the research suggests a really big shift here. We're seeing a pattern where operators will outperform innovators.
The people who can actually implement the change.
Yes, the ability to take a grand AI strategy and translate it directly into measurable, everyday behavior across the company. That is the new force multiplier.
So it's the business transformation experts who become the most valuable players, maybe even more so than the data scientists who built the model in the first place.
I think that's exactly right. They're the ones who can actually redesign the process and get the workforce to adopt the new AI-driven workflow. They manage the resistance.
That makes sense.
And this need for really rapid structural change is being pushed by one key factor, speed. The agentic AI era is accelerating far, far faster than most people expected.
And faster than they're ready for.
Much faster. It's forcing the issue. The tech is basically standing there saying, hey, I can execute this entire process for you.
And the organization has to either rise to that challenge or get left behind.
That's the tension. And that speed, that need for retooling, is why 2026 is such a pivot point. Which brings us perfectly to the core of our episode today.
The 10 major trends that our research has identified. The trends that are going to reshape how we work, compete, and create value in this new agentic world.
Let's get into them.
All right, let's dive into the list. We've grouped these a bit for flow, starting with the immediate operational shifts. This first group really defines what that autonomous execution looks like in the real world.
Trend number one is, it's really the definition of the whole pivot we've been talking about. It's the shift from co-pilots to autonomous decision makers.
So in practice, that means the AI isn't just suggesting the next step.
No, it's taking the wheel. It's executing entire functional processes, supply chain, financial modeling, you name it, without needing a manual sign-off for every single action.
And when AI starts making decisions like that, it has to trigger trend number 2, which is the radical redesign of business operating models.
It has to. You can't just bolt an autonomous agent onto an organizational chart from the 1990s. It doesn't work.
So what does that look like?
We're seeing a move away from those rigid siloed departments toward more fluid agent-managed project systems. The organizational structure itself has to become flexible and, digitized.
This operational fluidity then seems to drive trend number 3. The service as a software economy emerges.
Yes, this is a big one. We're seeing a fundamental change where core software functionality starts to almost dissolve. It turns into these seamless, invisible services that are executed automatically by agents.
So instead of buying a license for a CRM tool,
You're subscribing to a customer acquisition service that's managed entirely by an AI. You pay for the outcome, not the tool.
and if software starts dissolving into services, that connects directly to another trend you flagged, number 9, which sounds like a huge shock to the market.
It is. Agentic AI begins to cannibalize the SaaS industry.
Wow. Okay, unpack that.
Well, just imagine a single intelligent agent that can autonomously do the job of 3 different marketing automation tools, your expense software, and your HR system.
All without you needing to log into 5 different dashboards.
Exactly. This puts enormous pressure on these established software companies whose whole value prop was based on having more features, not on delivering an end-to-end outcome.
That's a huge disruption. So that's the operational group. A massive shift from assisted tasks to executed outcomes.
Right. Now let's look at the next group, value creation and security. Because the change in ambition here is just as dramatic.
This brings us to trend number 4. The focus shifts from these incremental 10% savings to pursuing 10x value creation.
Yes, because why would you settle for just a minor efficiency gain when the AI is autonomous?
The difference seems profound.
It is. 10% savings means you automated a spreadsheet and saved a few hours. 10x value means your AI agent autonomously manages the entire hiring process from application to offer, effectively doubling your talent acquisition capacity.
It's not about saving money, it's about creating entirely new capabilities.
Or entire product lines that were literally impossible before.
But that level of ambition must come with an equal level of risk, which is trend number 5. A new frontier of security risks arises.
The whole risk profile changes. It shifts from human error to machine velocity.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when an AI is autonomously executing high-stakes business decisions, the potential for automated misuse or rapid system failure or very sophisticated high-speed attacks just grows exponentially.
So a small vulnerability could be exploited globally in seconds.
By an enemy agent, yes. We need security that operates at the speed of machines, not the speed of human reaction.
A huge challenge. Okay, let's pivot now to the bigger picture. The ecosystem and geopolitical trends influencing all of this.
This leads us to trend number 7, which is just unavoidable at this point. The geopolitical imperative of sovereign AI.
Meaning nations want to control their own AI.
They see it as a strategic necessity,
Mm-hmm.
controlling their own domestic AI infrastructure, the data that feeds it, the foundational models. It's become critical to national security.
And economic autonomy.
And economic autonomy, social stability, it's just like energy independence. You can't outsource your national intelligence layer.
And this is about protecting national interests, but also training the AI on your specific culture, your language, your regulations.
Absolutely. And while nations are kind of putting up these walls for control, the commercial market is building storefronts, which is trend number 8. AI app stores go mainstream.
This is critical for adoption.
It's huge. App stores democratize access. They allow smaller players who build these very specialized domain variants to instantly reach a global audience.
It's like the smartphone app store all over again.
It is. It just unlocks all this creativity and accelerates the rate at which these 10x value applications can actually be found and deployed by businesses.
Okay, for our final group, let's bring this back to the human element and even the physical world. If agents are doing all this tactical work, what's left for us?
That brings us to trend number 6, which is about our required evolution. Humans have to evolve into AI orchestrators and collaborators.
So we step back from the tactical execution.
Dramatically. We stop messing with prompts and we start managing objectives. We define what success looks like, we set the guardrails, and we provide oversight.
We become the conductor, not the instrument player.
That's the perfect metaphor. The human role shifts entirely to strategic alignment and ethical oversight. We move up the cognitive stack.
And rounding out the 10, we have trend number 10, which feels a little like science fiction, but it's happening. AI gets physical with humanoid robots.
The agents are getting bodies. The idea of autonomous execution is no longer just stuck in the digital world of code and data.
We're seeing robots move out of the research labs.
And onto factory floors, into warehouses, and, soon into service roles. These systems let AI execute complex physical tasks, closing the loop from a digital decision to a real-world action.
Okay, so when you put all 10 of those trends together, from the death of saws to sovereign AI to physical robots, what stands out to me is just this massive escalation of tension inside organizations.
That's a great summary of it. This entire shift from co-pilot to full autonomy, it just dramatically escalates that built-in conflict between innovation and compliance.
We're innovating faster than we can secure it.
Or regulate it. Or even fully understand the impact it's having on our own organizations. The pressure to innovate for that 10x value clashes directly with the need for stability and security. And that tension, that really defines 2026.
It certainly paints a picture of the high-stakes environment you, our listener, are operating in. This shift to agentic AI isn't some far-off theory.
No, it's the dominant force driving change right now. And the organizational challenges of adapting are just massive.
Absolutely. So maybe you could leave us with one final thought to consider.
Sure. Here's a provocative thought for you. And it ties back to our whole discussion on constraints.
Okay.
Given that adoption, which really means fundamental human change and the redesign of operating models, is the real constraint going forward, how much time should your organization truly be spending on changing behavior versus just implementing new models?
A very pointed question.
I think the answer to that ratio is what will likely define the winners and the losers of the next 5 years.
The compelling question to leave you all with. It really forces us to think about internal transformation above everything else. And that's all we have for this episode. Thank you for joining us on the Complete AI Guide podcast.
We really appreciate you listening.
And once more, like, follow, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode.
It makes a huge difference.
And don't forget to check out our brand new masterclass on www.georgeabmatthew.com/masterclass.